Hey everyone, welcome back. In this particular video, I am going to show you how you can modify the source code of the Evilginx to add a function to send notification to the Telegram in case there is a credential or cookies are captured in the Evilginx, right? So yeah, without wasting time, let's get started. So let me tell you a little bit about this setup. What I have done is I have installed the VirtualBox, and on the VirtualBox, I have installed the Ubuntu, okay? And that's where I'm going to be modifying the source code. Okay, so let's do one thing. In the desktop I will create one folder. Okay, let's say test. Okay, this is the folder I'm going to create. So let's find our test folder, which is here. Open the test folder and simply right click and open the terminal. Okay, so this is where we are going to clone the repository. So as I said, we are going to modify the existing Evilginx source code to add some kind of functionality, right? So before that, we first should have the Evilginx source code. So let's do one thing. Let's go to GitHub and let's get the Evilginx source code in our folder. So I will type right here Evilginx and it will give you this Evilginx craze key, which is the official repository of the Evilginx in case you don't know. Let me click on the code and copy this particular evilginx2.git. Okay, let me minimize this particular browser and I will type git clone. I will paste that particular URL and add the dot. Okay, so it looks like the git is not installed on my system. So what I will do, I will first say sudo apt install and I will say git. Okay, and that should install the git on my server. Then we can do the git clone. Okay, and let me hit the enter button and it should install the git on my system. So let's give some time. Okay, now git is ready. So now we can do git clone. We can say git clone and then we can paste the URL right here. So let me just copy and paste it that particular URL right here and space and add the dot. So basically dot will clone the repository in the current directory rather than creating a new directory or new folder. Okay. Okay, now the git clone is complete and if you do ls then you will find the all source code there is in your folder. Okay, now we have added the source code. Next thing we need to do is we need to add the editor. So you can use any editor of your choice, but I prefer to use VS Code, which is I think already installed on my system. If it is not installed on your system, then you can go to the browser and type the VS Code and download the VS Code from here and install it on your system. Okay, great. So once VS Code is installed, then you need to just type code and dot. That will open the current folder into the code. Okay, so right now we have the all source code on the left hand side and this is our VS Code. Okay, now let me click here and open the new terminal right here. Okay, because we if we are doing the modification of the Evilginx which is created in the Go, then we should have the Go installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type Go version. Okay, it will show you if the Go is installed on my system or not, and if it is installed, what is the version. So in my case, I'm getting this particular error. That means Go is not installed on my system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Go first on the system. But don't get into the rush and install Go directly because there is a problem. Evilginx only supports the Go version 1.2 and onwards, okay? To I think 1.228 or something, right? So it is necessary to install right version of the Go. So do one thing, go back to the fluxxset.com. So open the browser, type fluxxset.com, and in the fluxxset.com, I have already created one mini blog for installing the Go. So I'll type Go version right here, and can you see install the specific version of the Go. So here I'm installing 1.22.8. Okay, so let me just copy these commands and paste it right here. Okay, and this will install the Go version on my system. So next command is basically extracting the zip file and putting into the user local directory. So let me go to the terminal. Let me execute that particular command. Hence it is the sudo. That's why we need to add our password also. Once we add the password, it will put into the location. Great. Next thing is we need to add the environment into our bash file. So let me just add this particular command. And here people are saying that like we need to add at the end of this file, middle of this file. But I just prefer to add in the beginning. Okay, just for simplicity. Okay, so let me just go here, copy this export path, whatever it is, which is exporting the bin path. So let me save and exit. For saving, you can type Control S and then Control X. Okay. Then let me source the file so that the changes will be take effect in immediately. Okay. Great. Now we have everything ready. If you do go version right now, it should show you the go version, whatever it is. Okay. Now let's do one thing. If I do ls, I can see the files right here. Okay. That means all source code of the Evilginx is right there. So let's try to do one thing. Let's try to use go build and let's see if it is building the correctly or not. So once I type the go build space dot, it has started the building. So let's give some time. Okay, the build process has been complete, and if I do ls right here, can you see the Evilginx binary is there. So if I do /Evilginx, it is running. That means our go build is successful. Okay, now we have done the basic setup, and now it's time to add the modification. Okay, so as you know, I have already released my one project which is on the GitHub. If you go here and if you type FluxxSet GitHub on the Google, you will see this particular FluxxSet GitHub, okay, which is my account. So here I have already created this particular fork in which I have done the modification to add Telegram notification function. So you can use exactly same modification. Okay, so how exactly you can use this modification? So can you see in this particular repository, which is 4, it is saying this branch has 13 commits ahead of the Kreski's official repository. So you can just click on that 13 commits. So this will show you the whole history that I have made changes. Okay, so if you go to the bottom of this particular changes, then you will find all of the code that I have added in order to do the modification. Okay, so let's start with the very bottom. So first thing, I have added the Fishlet example.yml file. I added this particular Fishlet file just to make sure that I'm not using someone else's site for testing. I'm using my own website. That's why, and that's what we are going to do in this particular video also. So let me do one thing. Let me create one file called 1.yml 1.yaml inside the Fishlet folder. So here I will say 1.yml. That's the file we are going to create. Now let me copy the whole code in the file. Okay, so let me copy the content and paste it right here, and we have created this particular file. Now I will delete the example file because that's not needed anymore, as we are going to use the fluxxset.com file for our example. Okay, now next thing we are going to do is we are going to check the next modification. So here it is saying go.sum and go.mod file has been basically changed. Now the thing is, we cannot just edit the go.mod or go.sum file, because if we do so, then it might create the conflict. So instead what we are going to do is, hence these two files are just holding the libraries. We are going to install those libraries. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are just going to copy this particular library and go to the my project, and I will type go get and I will paste that particular URL. Okay, so once I do that, it will basically install that particular library on my project, so that it will be automatically added into the my go.sum file and my what was the go mod file. So if you want to check, right now we install this particular library, which is go rusty version 2, right? So let's do one thing. Let's let me erase this one and let me install one more library, which is GitHub go telegram bot whatever it is and version 5. Okay, and let's enter and let's install this particular library. Now the libraries has been installed. Okay, now if I go inside the go.mod file and if I search for, let's say, telegram, can I see this particular entry is there? Okay, this particular whatever the library entry is there. That means we don't have to add these particular entries manually in these particular files. As we install the libraries, it will be get added. Okay, great. Now let's do one thing. Let me minimize this particular file and let's move forward. So let me go to the GitHub and let me check my changes. By the way, the go.mod and go.sum is done. Okay. Now, here is the file db underscore session.go. In this particular file, there are some modification. So let me first do one thing. Go inside the core and let me open, sorry, it's inside the database and db dot underscore session is there. So Can you see right here, it is giving the full path also, database slash db.session. Okay, so you don't have to wonder where you should add, in which file you should add. Okay, great. So let me just copy the first change and let me locate the changes where we want to add. I want to add after updated time. Okay, so let me scroll and here is the updated time. Let me add my code right here. Okay, and make sure that you are keeping into the right indentation. Okay, now next thing I need to do is same thing I need to add right here. So I need to add updated time after the updated time. So let me go here and let me find updated time. Okay, that's here, and let me add the code. Further, I need to add the one function which is session update cmsh id and session update tmsh id. Okay, so let me just copy those functions and let me add those functions before the function called session update username. Okay, this is the function before that we need to add. So let me scroll. Session update username is there. Let me paste this particular code right here. Okay, now this particular file has been done. By the way, whatever is showing in the green, that's the code I have added. Okay, so don't get confused. In the database.go file also, we need to add two functions. So let me just copy these two functions, go to the database.go file, and we can just add the function anywhere. So let me add it into the beginning. Okay, great. So database file is done. Now here we go with the tsessions.go file inside the code. Now the whole file is green. That means this file doesn't exist in the original project. We need to create it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just copy this particular name, go here inside the core folder. I will say create the file, and I will create the file with the name tsession.go. Okay, so once I create the file, let me go back and let me copy the whole code that I have added in this particular file. So here we go. Okay, so this code has been added into the file. Now, let me go to the next file and let me see where the changes I have done. So this is the file called core-terminal.go. Okay, so inside core folder, there is a file called terminal.go. So this is the file, and in this file, we are going to make the changes. Okay, so can you see this is the red and this is the green? Okay, so that means I have removed this particular code and I have added this particular code. Okay, basically I have done some modification in my code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this part of the old code and find inside my code. Okay, so here is the line that we are going to replace. So let me just hit Ctrl X and delete this line completely and come here and copy the new line and just paste it right here. Okay, so let me paste it right here, and here we go. Key is there, values is there, but it looks like the values has been added two times. That means I haven't deleted the first values. Okay, so let me just delete that first. Okay, let me just delete that first and add our own. Okay, now the keys are there, the values are there, and after that there is a return statement. So keys are there, the values are there, and after that there is a return statement. Great, so we have successfully did that. Now the next thing we need to do is, by the way, I have added this long called log.printf starting. So these are just statement I have added to debug the source code. So if you are not looking for the debug, then don't add it. Okay, so let's move forward, and this time let's search for this. Let me find it and let's replace this one. Okay, so it is saying keys are there and I have just replaced the values. So let me just copy the value session and just replace the value session. Okay, so right here the value has been replaced. Now great, let me go back. Let me find the next thing that I want to replace. So here also, can you see it is just saying log printf. That means this is just debug statements that I have. That's not necessary to modify. It's up to you if you want to modify or not. Okay, so I'll just say Control X right here and I will add my statement right here, which is this one. Okay, great. So I have added the code. Okay, now it looks like we have done all of the modification. Now let me go to the next file. This file also looks completely great. That means this particular file has been created from this scratch, which is tele.go. So what you can do is you can copy the name. It's inside the core folder, so you can go here and type tele.go, and this will show you this particular file. So let's copy the file completely. So let me start the copying from the bottom. So right here, let's copy this particular code. Okay, the code has been copied and it's been saved. Okay, now we are done with this particular file. Let's move to the next file and let's see which file is this one. It's a session.go inside the core folder. Okay, so let me copy these particular changes I need to add after the user agent. So let's find session.go. Let's scroll after the user agent. Let's add this particular thing right here. Same thing, we need to add this particular also. So let's go here, just add it. By the way, if you have the Go experience, then you can modify further if you want. Okay, otherwise you can just continue and follow my lead. Okay, great. Now this particular file also been completed. Now we see another big green file, which is notify.go. So let me just create one file inside the core folder one more time, which is notify.go, and let me hit enter button. Now, and let me just copy the whole source code. Okay, whole code for this particular file. So let me just copy the whole code for this particular file also. So this file is little bit big. Okay, now the code has been completed, I guess. Yes, right there. Let me paste it and make sure that, okay, the complete code is there. Great. Now, after that, I think there is a final file that we're supposed to modify, which is http proxy.go. Yes, http proxy.go. That's the file we need to modify. So in this particular file, there is a lot of modification. So it's a little bit tricky. Okay, so whatever you do, make sure that you are doing carefully. So http proxy.go. So here in this particular file, okay, so this is the first location where we need to modify. So I'll just copy the existing code in this particular file, search for that location, and here I need to add my code. So let me just copy that particular location and add this particular code. Same thing, I need to add this particular trigger. So let me just copy this particular code, which is familiar in this particular context. And it looks like there are 4 matches. Okay, so I need to find the right one. I need to find the match in which request.header.set p.get home dir equals to host is there. So it's better to, I think, search for this string. It looks like this string is also exist in the to location. Okay, but in this location there is a no if before that. Okay, so this is the basically most matched result. So what I'm going to do is, before that I need to add one variable. So let me just add one variable right here. Then I need to modify that variable value inside the if JSON string match type. So let me just search for that, and here let me add the modified score. By the way, you might get bored watching this. Okay, so if you want to just skip it and modify by your own, and if you face any issue, then you want to come back, that's also okay. Okay, so let me just do one more modification right here, and session.success. So I think I need to add here also. Okay, great. I have done these 3 modifications. Now, next thing is once this particular body has been closed, I need to call one function. So right here, I think I need to call one function, which is if trigger equals to 1, then do certain call some function. Okay. Now, in the next if, again, I need to place the trigger value equals to 0. So let's else and trigger equals to 0. Then again, I need to add trigger 1, and in the 3 locations. So let me do one thing. Let me go further. Let me paste here. That's first location. Let me paste here. That's the second location. Let me paste here. That's the third location. Okay. So right now I know the location because I have done the first modification also, this one also. But in your case, it's not there. Then you can just search for certain term and then locate where you want to add the code. Okay, you got the idea if you are watching. Okay, same thing. Let me go here and let me add the code right here, I guess. Right after the code there is a one bracket and then request.body. Okay, so request.body is, I think, right here. Yes, that means I need to add my code right here. Okay, great. Now there is a big function that we need to add at line number 1594. So this is just a function that we need to add into the bottom. What you can do is you can check where that function is by locating this particular function. Before that we need to add. So let me go here. That means we need to add the code right here. Okay, great. Let me just go ahead. Let me just copy that particular code, paste it right here. Same way, I can add the debug messages also, but they are not necessary. So I'll just skip it and save this particular file. Okay, now I think there is a one more final file which is config.go. That's all we need to modify. So let me just copy the modification we need to add after the autosort. So let me just go inside the config.go, and where is the autosort? Okay, here we go. We have the in general config, we have autosort. Let me make sure that if it is general config, DNS port, autosort, HTTPS port. Okay, DNS, HTTPS. Okay, that's great. We need to add right here. Okay, now all modification has been done. Okay, so all modification has been done. There are some modification in the README file, but I don't think so. We should add those modification. Okay, now it's finally time to build the project. So let's check if our modifications are right. So I will just execute the exactly same build command which I used before. So go build and dot. Okay, that should build, but it is giving one error and it is saying that we need to add the mod equals to mod flag in order to do that. So I will, what I will do, I will say go build, and here I will add mod equals to mod and add dot. Okay, now it will start building. It will download all libraries and then it will build the source code. And if the source code is built without any error, that means it is success. Okay, so right now it is saying there are two errors. First is keys are declared and not used, values are declared and not used. Okay, in line number 197 and 197. Okay, which file? Terminal file. So let's go here and let's find our 197 line number. Yeah, 197. Yes, this is the line number where we should be doing. So it's saying keys are declared, values are declared, but it is not there. So let's do one thing. Let me go back right here and let me find the file called terminal.go and let me see what I have done wrong. Okay, this is session.go. Then we have terminal.go. So in the terminal.go, this is the 197 and 190, whatever it is. These are the two. So it looks like there is a one log print of this particular method is there, which is basically printing keys and values, which will remove that particular error. Okay, so I think I need to add that. Okay, great. Let me click on the go build mod equal to mod, and now this has been built. Okay, so now if I do ls, I can see the .evilginx binary right here. If I do /evilginx.go, then you will see that this is running. Great. Okay, now the biggest problem is people will say that I need to edit the configuration. So they will do nano, I think nano tilt icon slash dot evilginx and config.go. That's the file. So if you do this one and if you go into the bottom of the file, okay, where the location is where you're supposed to add your telegram adding chat id, it is not visible right here. That's because before modifying the source code, we launched the Evilginx and it created this particular config file according to old source code. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to remove the old source code config file and create our own config file. So what you can do is it's up to you how you want to proceed. Either you can remove only config file or you remove whole folder. So I prefer to remove whole folder. So I will just say remove the folder. And now if I try to read the config, it is not there. Okay, that's great. Now let me start the Evilginx and it will create the new configuration. Now let me exit from this one and let me open the Evilginx configuration one more time. Okay, so this time the new configuration has been created, and can you see the chat ID is there and tele token option is added right here. Okay, so you can add your chat ID, you can add your tele token, and this particular source code will help you to report to the Telegram. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all in the modification. If you have any doubt, then you can let me know in the chat, or you can let me know in the comment, or I'm always there on my website, which is fluxxset.com. Here you can add your question and I'll be happy to answer your question, right? So I hope you don't have any doubt. If you have, you know what to do. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.